Hey guys, welcome back to another Number Sense video. In today's video, we're going to talk about multiplication and division, but this time with a few special numbers. And those numbers are 5, 25, and 125. Now, you might be wondering, why did we choose these three numbers? Why are they so special? And the reason is because they are closely related to 10, 100, and 1,000. Just like with addition, we really like powers of 10. Adding 10, adding 100, and adding 1,000 is really easy. And with multiplication, it's even easier to multiply these numbers. To multiply something by 1,000, you just have to add 3 zeros to the end. It's really simple. So we would like to create situations where instead of 5, 25, and 125, we have 10, 100, and 1,000. And obviously you could say this about any number, but the reason these are so special is because these are really, really easy to transform. I'll show you right now. Because 10 equals 5 times 2, right? And 100 then equals 25 times 4. And 1,000 equals 125 times 8. And some of you might have noticed, oh, this is just saying 10 equals 5 times 2, 10 squared equals 5 squared times 2 squared, and 10 cubed equals 5 cubed times 2 cubed. But if you don't know about that, that's all right. That'll be a topic for a future video. But this does kind of help to explain why things are the way they are. But this is really the important thing that you need to know, just these facts. And we're going to use these to simplify our multiplication a lot. And I'll show you that in the first example. Now, this first example is obviously the easiest, but this idea that is presented here is going to carry on throughout the whole video. So, 5. We have a 5, we would like it to be a 10 because multiplying by 10 is super easy. So, we're just going to need to get another 2. And where does that 2 come from? It's going to have to come from the 36. So we're going to write 36, we're going to decompose it as 2 times 18. So instead of 5 times 36, we have 5 times 2 times 18. And now this 5 times 2 is simply 10. So we have 10 times 18, which is simply 180. Now, this next problem, you might notice that we're going to multiply 5 by 57, and 57 isn't actually even. So there could be a bit of a complication. So you might have to go into decimals, or you could use the distributive property with kind of a remainder. And if you'd like to try this right now, you can take a second and pause the video. Okay, so 5 times 57. So there's a few ways you could think about this, but I like a certain way of thinking about 57. Because you could do decimals, but that's a little bit messier, especially if you want to carry this idea on throughout these problems where we're going to be doing 4 and 8 and stuff. So I like to think of 57 as simply having a remainder of 1 when divided by 2. So this is 5 times 2 times 28 plus 1. Because notice that 57 is 2 times 28 plus 1. So now we can use the distributive property to distribute this 5 in. So it's 5 times 2 times 28 plus 5 times 1. And now we know this is simply 10 times 28, and so this is 280 plus 5 times 1 is 5, so our answer is 285. Now you could have also done this by doing 57 over 2 equals 28.5, and then multiplying that by 10, we move the decimal place to the right, so 285. But this is a better idea, I think, for thinking about these as well. For example, in this question, 25 times 24. Now, you might start to see the pattern here. It's a pretty simple idea, but 25, we'd like to make it a 100. But to do that, we need a 4. So where does that 4 come from? It's going to come from the 24. So 24 is 4 times 6. So it's going to be 25 times 4 times 6 equals 100 times 6, which is simply 600. Very quick and easy. Once you recognize that this 25 is pretty much 100, just hidden. Now, with this question, once again, 73 isn't a multiple of 4, so we're going to have to use an idea like this. You can take a pause and try it right now if you'd like. So, 73. We're going to have to kind of decompose into something times 4 plus something. Essentially, this is like division with a remainder. So, once we do this in our head, we will recognize that 73 is 4 times 18 plus 1. And there's not really a trick to doing this. It's kind of just knowing this, being able to divide these numbers in your head. So once again, we're going to use the distributive property to distribute this 25 in. So it's going to be 25 times 4 times 18 plus 25 times 1, which is obviously 25. But this 25 times 4, again, same idea, it's a 100. So it's 100 times 18 plus 25, which is going to be 1825. And you might see a bit of a pattern because the first two digits are just 73 divided by 4, and the last two digits are like the remainder. Like it's remainder 1, but it's times 25, so it's 25. You can kind of think of it like this way as a shortcut, but I think it really just helps to know where it comes from. But obviously, once you know where it comes from, you can use the shortcut. Now, it's a similar idea here again. It's a kind of like a pattern. It's a wave, right, guys? So 125, we would like that to be 1,000. So we need an 8, right? And that 8 is going to come, again, from the second number, the 72. Now, everyone should know 72 is 8 times 9. So it's 125 times 8 times 9. And now we're just going to have to know off the top of our heads that 125 times 8 is 1,000. And so we have 1,000 times 9 equals 9,000. Very simple idea. Once again, 83 is not a multiple of 8. But once again, we can just use this idea. Take a pause right now if you'd like to try it. So again, 83, once we divide this by 8, we're going to have a quotient and a remainder. So we're going to write it out in that form. So this is going to be 125 times 8 times 10 plus 3. It's a very simple division to do. So now, again, the distributive property, we're going to distribute this 125 in. So this is 125 times 8 times 10 plus 125 times 3. Now this is simply 1,000 times 10 plus 125 times 3. Now I would say that knowing the multiples of 125 is probably the hardest thing. But again, this is kind of something you can memorize because you're only going to have to do like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times 125. And it's not too hard to memorize, especially once you kind of know what's going on. But for now, we're going to say that 125 times 3 is 375. And so this is simply 10,000 plus 375, which is 10,375. And once again, you can kind of notice that these first two digits are 83 divided by 8, which is 10. And these last two digits are the remainder, 3 times 125. And it essentially just comes from doing this. But some people may present this as a shortcut, but it's just good to know where it comes from. So again, that's really it for 525 and 125. Number Sense really likes to test you on these, and these are going to show up so much, not only in Number Sense, but also just in the everyday math you do. So hopefully, you'll remember these tricks, remember where they come from, and be able to apply them well. I'll see you in the next video.